remind myself, gold nuggets. Okay, for those of you that don't know, gold nugget, there's something in this talk today that is just going to burst with joy in your heart. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. And you will want to write it down. So, get your pen ready, paper, whatever you need. Write on your hand. Because there's going to be a pearl in this. There's going to be a gold nugget. And the gold nugget is that touches your heart, and you get to take it home with you. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you, children. Okay. My talk today is surrender. And this is the time of the year, which we talked about last week, to let go of old habits. To let go of those things that no longer serve you. Because remember, we give from Thanksgiving in gratitude, but we know that there are things in us and around us that we are willing to give away, like Rex said, you know, he took it to the flea market. Let's take some of these old habits and old beliefs to the flea market of life and release those worn out beliefs so that we can prepare ourselves to step into new beginnings. Yes? Good? Okay. So my talk being surrender, I'm going to ask you, what are you willing to surrender? Let's think about that for a moment. Is there a belief, a way of being that you would like to just go and say, thank you, I've done that. I'm ready to move on. What are you willing to let go of to make more room for the birth of the Christ consciousness that is taking place within each and every one of us this Christmas? What are you willing to make room for? This Christ consciousness that is our gift at Christmas. That's what Reverend John and I are going to be talking about next Wednesday. Next Wednesday? Yeah. A week from Wednesday. Don't come next Wednesday. So I believe if we aren't willing to surrender old beliefs, if we're not willing to surrender old ideas of limitation, we've held, we've restricted, we've blocked our effortness of spirituality, or the effectiveness of spirituality. If we're not willing to let go of old beliefs, old ideas that have held us hostage, because let me tell you, my beliefs have held me hostage. And being willing to surrender them, to be released of that, creates an atmosphere to open to greater spirituality in us, through us, as us, and for us. This month's theme in Science of Mind magazine, which we're going to be talking about next Sunday, is the journey of becoming. I love that. And if you haven't got this Science of Mind, this month's Science of Mind, I'm sorry, we're all sold out. But you can go online and sign up for it and get it online. It's really good. The journey of becoming. When I say that, what wakes up in you? What do you think of? The journey of becoming. As we each use our December time, inviting, opening to the Christ consciousness, and giving permission, because see, we have to give it permission, to awaken within each one of us. What does that mean to you? I know what it means for me. The Christ consciousness, the birthing of it this December, is awakening to new beginnings for each one of us, and surrendering and letting go of old beliefs, old ways of thinking that have kept us stuck in the past. Anybody? Or is it just me? It's probably just me. I gotta come. Or you know someone who's really stuck in the past. They keep telling you, they keep repeating over and over again their story, and you said, I've heard that story. No, we don't. We kindly say, Past issues, old beliefs that keep us repeating in our mind. Anybody have that past, and you say, we're not going to give that one up. Our mind must be the place where we release and we let go if we wish to change conditions in our life in this coming new year. When we stop reliving our past pain and our mistakes is the beginning of our personal freedom. I've really been working on this one, and it works. And we can begin by repeating this mantra. My God is greater than my past. Now that's a good gold nugget. My God is greater than my past. The God within your own heart. And the more we open to that, the greater that presence of God within us has an opportunity to become. Or we can say, my God is more powerful than my mistakes. I like that one. Anybody make a mistake? I have. But the God within me is more powerful than anything I've ever done, any wrong turn I've ever made. How does that feel? Releases meaning. I hope it does you too. Mistakes teach us what not to do again. That's all. You know, some places, sometimes we get told, oh, once you've made that mistake, you're done for it. No. It just teaches us what not to do, what turn not to take, what road not to drive on. Good? I invite each one of us to be willing to place every moment in the power of the unlimited presence of the Christ within. It is the power within that doeth the work. We hear this. It is the Father within that doeth the work. And yet we don't really want to embrace that as much as I think we really need to. The Christ within is our hope and glory. Remember, we've talked about this. Jesus wasn't Mr. Christ. He was a man who studied, who lived, who actually, when you study his life, he was in India with a lot of yogis. And he learned the power within him, and he brought it back to the people. And he became the Christ. It is the Father within that doeth the work, he told us. No matter what you call your divine nature, that power that is only yours is so special to you. It's time we each claimed it for ourselves. And I'm going to invite you to do that this month. Is claim your own personal power with the divine, whatever you call it. The power at the center of each one of us is our personal greatness. When we each give permission for this power to partner with us in every moment, it frees us. It frees our soul. I've been really working with this, and I tell you, it's so much fun. Have fun with it. Don't get so serious about it. It frees our faith. It frees our trust. It frees our divine nature, because you see, we are, each and every one of us, divine. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, we've heard that. And I'm going to invite you this month to take it seriously. You can laugh about it too. Oh, if I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, how do I want to experience this life? In partnership with my own divine nature. Our victory lies in knowing that God is our source, that there is a power that wants only our good, by whatever name. Our thinking and our mind needs to be spiritualized. I love that word. It comes from my friend, Reverend Dr. Patty Weber. She talks about her book of spiritualizing everything. So I'm going to invite us this month to spiritualize our life. We are each being called to maintain our spiritual power like we maintain our homes. We don't let our homes rot. We maintain our cars. We maintain our relationships. We got to maintain our spiritual power. because it's there for us to use, each one of us, daily, moment to moment. Like what Diana does, she sings her spiritual power. She uses her voice, and her voice becomes her spiritual power. What do you do with your spiritual power? Because you got it. When we willingly maintain that spiritual power, our spiritual essence, when adverse thinking comes up, we repeat, my God is greater than this. My God is more powerful than this. Okay, God, show me the power that helps me heal this belief about myself. Because in my opinion, that's all the divine is waiting for, is for us to call upon it, to use it, to allow it to work in our lives. Because you see, we cast our fears out into the fire of God's love. Not try to hide them. Cast them out. We are each renewed and refreshed and are becoming more of our true nature. What is your true nature? Are you willing to look at it? Are you willing to open the door to it? I am. When we believe ourselves to be separate, when we believe ourselves that we're alone, we have temporarily lost sight of our own divine nature. So, yeah, anybody ever feel alone here? Then all you've done is turned away from your divine nature. It's still right where you are. It has to be. Stop. Plug in. Reconnect. Become what you read. And for that, I'm going to do something. I've been reading Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters. If you want an inspiring little book, I'm going to invite you to get this. Myrtle Fillmore and her husband created the Unity movement. And she wrote this sweet book on called Healing Letters. And every page is filled with her idea and her belief of the love of God in her life. So I want to share some of that with you this morning. And if you'd like to, just gently close your eyes and make these words real for you, if you so choose. This is what she says. Be still. Be still. Be still. God in the midst of you is substance. God in the midst of you is love. God in the midst of you is wisdom. Let not your thoughts be given over to lack, but let wisdom fill them with the substance and faith of God. Let not your heart be a center of resentment and fear and doubt. Be still and know that at this moment it is the altar of God, the altar of love that sets before you. Love so sure and unfailing. Love so irresistible and magnetic that it draws your supply to you from the great storehouse of the universe. Trust God. Use God's wisdom, prove and express the Spirit's love. Take a breath. And remember, we're each spiritual beings having a human experience. When we lose sight of who we are, we lose confidence in ourselves. Our divine connection just has become unplugged. And we distrust everybody and everything. So we've got to plug back in. And remember, a pool of standing water becomes a breeding place of bacteria, mosquitoes, microbes, algae. Stagnant water is filled with negative elements. standing pool of water is cut off from its source, the river of life. The river of life is free-flowing, fresh water. This can be the same with our lives. When we're out of balance, when we're unhappy, when we're repeating past mistakes, we've shut ourselves off. We shut the door from the river of life that lives within us. The free-flowing thinking through new, fresh ideas, constantly flowing that greater good within our lives into our lives is what we stay open to. Flowing, moving each of us forward into greater possibilities. What are the possibilities you're willing to step into for this Christmas season? Because inner conflicts are like stagnant pools of water. Reading old ideas, repeating negative thinking. And that's all we have to say to that stuff. Oh, that's a stagnant pool. Because you see, when we stay open to fresh new ideas, to new beliefs, we enter and clear those old places in us, that old thinking, and we start cultivating the living waters of truth. That's why I love this book. Well, I know you know, I have books all over the floor. Next to me, to the left of me, to the right of me. And they call me. Let the books, let the words of people touch your heart and wake that river of living water in you. Because we're all going to be living in that essence differently than someone else. Living in faith is allowing those living waters to pour into us moment by moment daily. Remember, we as practitioners, we daily set the tone with our prayer work on Facebook. Living waters of faith help open each and every one of us to new possibilities. For us, you might read Winnie the Pooh and find something to be faithful about. Love, our divine nature, helps us to see beyond conditions, beyond delusions, beyond old hurts, beyond past issues. Choosing every day to change our emotional state is to believe that victory is available for each and every one of us every day, every moment. We get to choose. This is what I know. In our daily reading and our daily meditation, we grow our faith, we grow our trust, surrendering the past. This begins with our loving ourselves and loving life. Mary Ellen's a good example of that. She loved life so much and her own being that she said, okay, God, I'm willing to walk through this. She couldn't even walk for a while. Look at her. It's her faith. It's the faith, the healing, the prayers that prove they work. But you have to work it. She worked it. She's still working it. Yes, we've all made mistakes. However, we learn and grow from those past because we get to move forward into a greater expression, into that greater generous self-love. This is our Christmas gift. Paying more attention to our inner world helps us make the decision to show up for ourselves every day. Are you willing this Christmas to give yourself the gift of showing up for you every day? Yes? Yes. Yeah. Because that's up to us. Let us each awaken that Christ within us, knowing we each have the power to make everything new and be renewed in it. There is no stagnation in this room. We are birthing the river of life, and we flow freely every day in us, as us. So I'm going to invite you to just keep remembering, the river of life. And let it lift you up and commit to being lifted up into that new renewed, the flow, the greater that is yet to be expressed in you. I guarantee the gifts for you this Christmas will abound. I'm expecting it in my life. Please expect it in yours. So let's take it into prayer. So we just take this moment, knowing and accepting that right where we each are, there's an infinite wisdom, an infinite power that so loves us. It is the spirit of life, the river of life that flows in and through in our very breath and the beat of our heart, in every cell, muscle, fiber, and tissue. It is the power of God within, the power of spirit. It is our divine nature. This is what I know to be true. And where there is a need for a healing, I call forth that miracle-working power of God to refresh, renew, remind each and every one of us that there is a greater truth beyond any past experience, beyond any condition, beyond any circumstance. This is what I know. This and so much greater than what I can speak in words is already taking place in that divine mind and wisdom that lives within you and lives within me. And so we give it permission to be greater in this holiday season, in this Christ consciousness, in this birthing, awakening into the new year. We become ready and available and receptive to all the gifts that this year has for each and every one of us. And so we say yes to that divine essence. We say yes to the river of life, knowing and accepting that this that we have created here today magnifies and glorifies each and every one of us, and we send that same energy and essence out to our loved ones, our family, our friends, and the hearts of the world. Knowing and accepting that there is a greater truth awakening in the consciousness of humanity, greater than we have ever imagined. This is what I know. This is what I claim in this new year, in this Christ consciousness. I give thanks in advance for that and so much more. And I just release and I let go of this very word, knowing it is acted upon by the law of pure spirit, returning to and through each and every one of us, multiplied, magnified, spilling over. We are filled to overflowing with the goodness and the grace of God. And so if you're in agreement with me or anything I might have said, please join me in saying, and so it is. Amen.